Mr. Vega, an electronic notary public in New York, places an advertisement for his services in Spanish and charges $50 for performing an electronic notarial act. He does not include any disclaimer stating that he is not an attorney. According to the New York State Notary Public Law, which of the following statements correctly reflects his obligations? 1. He must clearly and conspicuously include a disclaimer in the same non-English language, Spanish, advertisement stating that he is not an attorney and cannot give legal advice or accept fees for legal advice. 2. He is entitled to charge a $50 fee for each electronic notarial act he performs. 3. Failure to comply with these requirements will render him ineligible for reappointment as a notary public. Well, let's look at each of these statements as they are applied to the respective laws to help us determine the solution. Once again, 1. He must clearly and conspicuously include a disclaimer in the same non-English language, Spanish, advertisement stating that he is not an attorney and cannot give legal advice or accept fees for legal advice. Well, if we have a look at section 182.1 of the Notary Public License Law booklet entitled Advertising, under subsection B it states, a notary public who is not an attorney licensed to practice law in the state of New York and who advertises his or her services as a notary public in a language other than English shall include in the advertisement the following disclaimer: I am not an attorney licensed to practice law and may not give legal advice about immigration or any other legal matter or accept fees for legal advice. The disclaimer shall be printed clearly and conspicuously and shall be made in the same language as the advertisement. So, looking back at statement 1, this aligns with the law that I just read from before, therefore we can put a check mark next to it. 2. He is entitled to charge a $50 fee for each electronic notarial act he performs. If we have a look at section 182.11 of the Notary Public License Law entitled Fees, under subsection G it states, an electronic notary public shall be entitled to a fee of $25 for each electronic notarial act performed, which shall be inclusive of all costs incurred by the notary public. So when statement 2 states $50, this is incorrect, and therefore we can put an X next to number 2. And finally, statement 3, failure to comply with these requirements will render him ineligible for reappointment as a notary public. If we have a look at section 182.10 of the Notary Public License Law booklet entitled Applications, Registrations, and Renewals, under subsection E, it states, any notary public who has failed to comply with any of the requirements of this part relating to notarial or electronic notarial acts shall not be eligible for reappointment. So looking back at statement 3, this aligns with the law that I just read from before, therefore we can put a check mark next to number 3. And with all this in mind, let's have a look at the 4 choices to determine the solution. Choice A states 1 only. This is incorrect because 3 is also a statement that correctly reflects his obligations, therefore choice A is not our solution. Choice B states 1 and 3 only. This is the correct solution, but to be in the habit of looking at all 4 choices, let's have a look at choices C and D. Choice C states 3 only. This is incorrect because 1 is also a correct statement, and therefore choice C is not our solution. And finally, choice D states all of the above. This is not correct because 2 does not accurately reflect his obligations, and therefore choice D is not our solution, which indeed leaves choice B, 1 and 3 only, as the correct solution.